would it be fair to compare the Arian crisis to the crisis in faith we have today?
Yeah. Oh, you want more than that? Gosh, you're demanding. All right. No, I mean, sure, it's universal. Today we have a crisis of faith that extends to the very highest echelons of the church. I think that probably, I don't know for sure, of course, because usually these things tend to get remembered in the best light possible. But I think there's a good possibility that the whole, both the Knights of Malta affair and the dubia of the four cardinals will go down in history as an example to future popes, so don't let this happen to you. No, I would not be surprised. I can't say. I mean, if Paul VI is lucky, all he'll be remembered for is Humanae Vitae. If Francis is lucky, all he'll be remembered for is canonizing Emperor Seraph. But if he's remembered for the Order of Malta and the dubia, his memory will be something future popes will not want to think about.
Okay, let's make things a little bit more concrete. So the Arian heresy was sort of a denial of the divinity of Christ.
Right. And at one point, all but 5 of the bishops of the church subscribed to it, and even the Pope signed a semi-Arian creed.
Wow.
Liberius, that was.
Okay, and so the crisis of the church today involves what beliefs? What beliefs are in trouble?
Everything.
Everything.
Everything. The crisis of belief today goes from, well, I mean, as Benedict XVI said last May, we no longer believe in the necessity of the church and the sacraments for salvation. So that removes both the need to evangelize and the need even to be Catholic. It is the complete rejection, really, of everything Christ said about the church. It is the rejection of Christ's admonition to the apostles. Go thou and make disciples of all nations. Because if the church is not necessary, none of her doctrines matter.
That begs the question to me, what I would ask these people is, why did Christ even bother?
Well, yeah. And the answer is he was a nice person. He came to give us a good example. He came to give us a way of giving the clergy an income. Very important. Christ died so that the clerics could have dough.
Wow.
Well, what else am I supposed to think? I mean, if he didn't come to establish the means for saving our souls through incorporation into him, but you see, the problem with that is that they won't take the final step. If we don't need the church, we don't need the clergy. Get a job. That's the step they won't take. Well, some of them have, but usually not for theological reasons, generally to get married. I tell you, it is comparable. Because the Arian heresy was the rejection of the divinity of Christ. And if that goes, it all goes. I mean, they weren't rejecting transubstantiation, which, of course, they didn't use the word then, but they knew about the real presence and all that. But what does that mean if Christ is a God? It means you're turning the bread and wine into the body and flesh of a man. Now, that's a nice trick if you can pull it off. I'm not saying it isn't exciting. But so what? And you see, what these people do not understand, because they're so lost in the mazes of their own minds, is that if what they say is true, we don't need them. If what they are saying is true, there's only one answer to them. 2 words. Go away. Because what are you bothering me for? What's this for? Why are you talking? You've got nothing to say that anyone needs to hear. Go bye-bye. Retire. Die if you want. Because it's all meaningless. It's all drivel. But obviously they can't let themselves realize that. And therein lies the rub. if I espoused a position which, logically speaking, meant that I was a useless parasite who'd be better off dead, I promise you I would never follow it out logically. Never in a million years. And you might say, wait a minute, Charles, if what you're saying is true, and if I were in a position of authority over you, I'd smack you down way before you ever got the chance to point that out to me. Trust me, you would be toast. So that's kind of the problem with him. You know, and again, if any holder of the new theology or the new liberalism or whatever you want to call it should hear this, understand, Father, your Lordship, your Excellency, your Grace, whatever you are, you still have time. As long as you're breathing, you still have time. Because Christ, in fact, did die. The sacraments are confected so that we can save our souls. We can escape the trap of being human that the fall of our first parents put us in. And that is the reality, you see, of human life. The problem with these guys is that they've declared war on reality. But reality always wins. You can smack around its adherents as much as you like. And I can tell you the world is round, the sky is blue, or whatever, and you can smack me around for it. You can cut off my head for it. But you know what? It's still going to be round and blue. There is nothing you can do if you make that declaration of war that will let you win. All you can do is destroy people. And that will come back to you in various ways. At the end of the day, of course, snap, crackle, pop. So, I mean, I look at these guys, I look at the Arians, and everything in between. The communists. This is something, ladies and gentlemen, if you're feeling very down in the dumps about affairs in church and state today. When I was young, and I love to harken back to those days because to me they were very pleasant, but the shadow of communism hung over our heads, and communism seemed unbeatable. And where is it now? So, only held by a few members of the ruling class. But anyway, did you need that? Did you really have to go there? Honestly? Anyway, and a few Jesuits. But you had to say that. Anyway, the point I'm making is, yeah, it's comparable to the Arian heresy. And if we have world enough in time, and these aren't the last days, one day it will be remembered as well as the Arian heresy.
Wow.
And on that joyful note, and I do think it's joyful, the truth will always out, ladies and gentlemen. You know, to steal from Lord of the Rings, I always remember Gandalf chatting with Frodo about the political situation in Middle-earth. And he goes into great detail about the terrible things that are happening. And Frodo says, "Oh, I wish I hadn't been born in such times," which I'm sure we all can relate to on one level or another. And Gandalf's response was, "So say you, so say I, so say everyone born in such times. But it's not given to us to decide what time we'll be born in. Only what we shall do with the time we are given." And that is the thing, ladies and gentlemen. It is given to us to decide what we're going to do with the time that we have. And that is a tremendous gift. And it's something that no prelate and no bureaucrat and no president can take away from us.